So following the shocking assassination of Ismail Haniyeh, the most senior leader of Hamas, inside of Iran, not just Iran, in Tehran, and also the assassination of a senior leader of Hezbollah in Beirut, Iran have said they're going to retaliate. Well, they tried to retaliate in April with all those rockets and drones, and it was a failure. They've lost their president and their foreign minister. We've had these two very senior assassinations recently, but they're desperate and they're going to keep going because they are desperate. But the God of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. And the Prime Minister of Israel has made a statement, and he's talking about, what's going to be happening over the coming days. And I want to read to you some of the reporting from this that I've been seeing. Times of Israel have been reporting that Prime Minister Netanyahu warned on Wednesday evening that challenging days are ahead for Israel as it braces for attacks from Iran and its regional proxies following the assassination of Hezbollah's top military commander in Beirut and Hamas political leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran. Speaking from military headquarters in Tel Aviv at the end of a 3-hour-long security cabinet meeting, Netanyahu said Israel was facing threats from across the region following the killing of Fuad Shukr, whom he called Hezbollah's chief of staff, in Beirut on Tuesday night. We're ready for every scenario, he promised, and will stand united and determined against every threat. He added Israel will exact a very heavy price for any aggression against us. Israel was on high alert Wednesday evening as it prepared to face retaliation for the attacks. The killings and expectations of a response have fueled further concern that the conflict in Gaza was turning into a wider Middle East war. The United States urged its citizens not to travel to Lebanon, citing rising tensions. The State Department raised its travel advisory to Lebanon to level 4, which says do not travel. State Department advised Americans in Lebanon to depart if possible. While it confirmed hitting Shukr, Israel has not commented on Haniyeh's killing, and Netanyahu avoided doing so, or even mentioning Haniyeh's name during his Wednesday comments. But Iran and Hamas blamed the Jewish state for the attack. As Netanyahu was addressing the nation, Hezbollah formally confirmed that Shukr had been killed more than 24 hours after the IDF struck the 8-story apartment building in southern Beirut that he was in. Shukr will be buried on Thursday, the Iran-backed group said, and its leaders Hassan Nasrallah will deliver an address. Netanyahu noted that Shukr, who he described as Nasrallah's deputy, and I want to get up a picture of him with Nasrallah as well, just so you can see how close they are. So here they are together. Take a look. So you can see that he's a very, very senior operative within Hezbollah. And Netanyahu noted that he was described as Nasrallah's deputy, one of the most wanted terrorists in the world. The US put a $5 million bounty on his head, and for good reason. He was involved in the murder of 241 American soldiers and 58 French soldiers in Beirut in 1983. Evil, evil, evil. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin said earlier Wednesday that the US will certainly help defend Israel if regional conflict escalates, noting that it did so in April when the US led a coalition of forces that together with Israel almost completely thwarted an Iranian attack on Israel with hundreds of drones and missiles. The UN Security Council said it will be holding an emergency meeting on Wednesday at 4 p.m. New York time on the killing of Haniyeh. The meeting was requested by Iran and supported by representatives of Russia, China, and Algeria. No doubt they'll be mourning the attack, which is just so ridiculous. As someone said, people described Haniyeh as a moderate, and I saw someone else say, let's be clear, he was a terrorist in a suit. Meanwhile, Israeli President Isaac Herzog urged the public to be responsible and vigilant amid the threats from Iran and its proxies and to follow instructions issued by the security establishment. We do not desire war, and we will not desire war, but we must be prepared, the president said. The Israeli strike in Beirut was carried out in retaliation for a deadly Hezbollah rocket attack on the Golan Heights Druze town Saturday that killed 12 children in a soccer field. Absolutely horrendous. Israel has said Shukr was responsible for the attack and others across northern Israel. He was the main liaison between Iran and Hezbollah, and he was responsible for the organization's missiles, Netanyahu said. Iran's official Fars news agency reported Wednesday night that Iranian military advisor Milad Bedi had also been killed in the Beirut strike that killed Shukr. Bedi was in the building where Israel targeted Shukr, and his body was identified on Wednesday, the report said. Pointing to the Beirut assassination, the strike in Gaza on the leader of Hamas military wing, Mohammed Def, several weeks ago, and on the Houthi-controlled Hodeidah port in Yemen, Netanyahu said Israel had landed crushing blows on Iran and its main proxies. The Druze and the Jews have a covenant of life that has been strengthened in recent days, the premier said of Israel's retaliation for the deadly Hezbollah strike on Majd al-Shams. We settled our score with Moshin, he said, referring to Shukr's, and we will settle our score with anyone who harms us. The murder of innocent children has been added to the unending suffering of the residents in the north, our dear ones who have been exiled from their homes and whose communities have suffered serious attacks. And for this we will not be silent. Everyone who takes aim at our children, everyone who murders our citizens, everyone who harms our country, their blood is on their own head, Netanyahu added. Like Netanyahu, Israeli Air Force Chief Major General Tomer Bar stressed at a graduation ceremony for drone operators at the Palmachim Air Base on Wednesday evening that the IAF was ready for any scenario. The Air Force was enveloping Israel with dozens of aircraft, manned and remotely manned, prepared and ready in a matter of minutes for any scenario in any area, Bar said. We will act against anyone who plans to harm the citizens of the State of Israel. There is no location that is too far for us to attack. Questions swirled in Israel throughout all of Wednesday about how Iran and its proxies would react to the assassinations of top Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. Israel's aviation authority said on Wednesday morning the airspace from the coastal city of Hadera northward would be closed for a period of 24 hours, with the exception of emergency flights by the military, police, firefighters, and medical evacuations. Ben Gurion Airport was unaffected by the closure, as commercial flights generally do not fly north of Hadera to reach the airport located near Tel Aviv. Still, two leading US airlines announced Wednesday they were freezing flights to the country for several days. Meanwhile, Foreign Minister Israel Katz sent a letter to dozens of foreign ministers around the world, calling on them to demand an immediate cessation of Hezbollah's attacks, its withdrawal to the north of the Litani River, and its disarmament in accordance with UN Security Council Resolution 1701. That resolution ended the 2006 Second Lebanon War and stipulated that Hezbollah must not be active south of the Litani, a demand Hezbollah has flaunted over the years as it built its robust military infrastructure along Israel's borders. Israel is not interested in an all-out war, Katz says, but the only way to prevent it is the immediate implementation of Resolution 1701. The strike on Shuk has sent a clear message, Katz added. We will use great force to harm whoever harms us. In his Wednesday address, Netanyahu asserted that he has been under pressure, domestically and abroad, to end the war in Gaza. Quote, I did not give in to those voices then, and I do not give in to them now, he said. Had he listened to them, the premier argued, Israel would not have taken out Hamas leaders and fighters, destroyed infrastructure, taken the Gaza-Egypt border, or, quote, created the conditions that bring us closer to terms that will not only bring our hostages back, but also allow us to achieve all our objectives for the war. All of the achievements in recent months were attained because we did not give in, Netanyahu said, and because we made brave decisions in the face of great pressure at home and abroad. And I will tell you it was not easy. And he's absolutely right, by the way. Think about the amount of pressure. They said Rafah is going to be a humanitarian disaster. And again, Israel showed such surgical precision. And yet, the world still just, dances on all these lies. And Netanyahu is showing that he's going to be persistent. And he's not going to be swayed by the nonsense and the pressure. And he finished by saying, together we will fight, and with God's help, together we will win, he concluded. I think we should be absolutely clear that, morally speaking, Israel has absolutely every right to do whatever she needs to do to eliminate the evil, barbaric security threats that she faces from Hezbollah, from Iran, from Hamas. And quite frankly, even if they weren't facing this escalation right now, they are facing people who are building up military equipment, military funding in order to try to destroy Israel, God forbid. And so Torah morality teaches if someone comes to attack you, you attack them first. That's moral. Don't attack me, then there'll be peace. Israel and the Jewish people were the first to teach the world about the value of world peace as an ideal, by the way. And that's what we want. That's what we pray and hope for. That there'll be peace in the region where we'll cooperate and work together. But if you come and threaten us, I'm sorry, but we're going to go after you. And so Israel has every right, not just to respond to these escalations and attacks, but to eliminate these threats to her security, to her life. So pray for Israel. Pray for Israel's continued strength and confidence in the face of so much pressure, both diplomatic and military. We've seen amazing miracles, even in the last few months. So keep praying and expect to see more, because Jewish history is one big miracle. But the Jewish people have often faced it alone. And despite it all, she comes through. Why? Because the Jewish people are God's chosen people. And a godly nation does not operate according to the natural order, according to natural laws. The Jewish people are, in many respects, as part of God's voice, there to manifest and show the glory of God. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.